rapping, I just follow my path, I just follow my passion. To me, this is what's precious. Yeah, in my soul, man, I can feel it. So every single verse, man, I just gotta go and kill it, man. I gotta be the kid. I could be the guy taking you out. I could be the villain, but good as a kid. Lately, I'm painting my path on my way. Yeah, I got no time that I can waste. So I've been sitting in the space. Yeah, making rest every day, man. You know that I go insane. Yeah, I hit you with a bullet to the brain. Let us stop first, if we going, you going insane. You don't know what I'm gonna do. You don't know what is next. And I'm loving the fact, truly it's making me blessed. Cause I work on my team, no snakes in the grass. And we have a choice in the wind because of the work that we did in the past. Because of the work that we did in the past. When we went to hours, we barely got rest. So I get the realm and we didn't finesse. So I got the feelings that we might be next. Cause when we go in, we win in the match. When we go in, we win in the match. So that's how we do, cause we be the best. We be the best, best. Yeah, we be the best. Whoa. Yeah, we be the best, best. We be the best. Hey, yeah, we be the best, best. Hey, we be the best. Yo, you wanna come and test? Whoa, you want to see we the best? Hey, you don't see that we're the best kid, so I suggest you never really come and test it. But otherwise, I will smack your face like Michael Jordan does with a ball in the basket. Oh damn kid, but you didn't expect it. You never really thought that this could just happen. But now when come on and we pull out with the action, cause people the feed, those they don't get it like.
Midnight and city lights on the other side. You're calling me up at the same time. I'm in the daylight. You're calling to say hi, but your words they cry. If there's something that you need to say, I know it ain't easy living inside your brain for sure. You keep telling me that it's all okay, but I know, yeah, your silence speaks so loud. Your silence speaks so loud. And I hear you calling out, yeah. About nothing, then you said something under your breath. I can't take it, I know what you're thinking. I wish I could fix this, yeah. If there's something that you need to say, I know it ain't easy living inside your brain for sure. You keep telling me that it's all okay, but I know, yeah, your silence speaks so loud.
He's going to be pushing through. They have no idea that he's here as of right now. Curveball comes through. Oh my God, Lotus!
A is the play. A strong aggression here. Shocked out. What is it? Cabrera's gonna line it up real quick. Whip it on his graph paper. One more and a third there.
Maybe a little bit of marketplace as well, but Zol has that under control. The double kill, no less. No, make that a triple.
At that first one, but do they know Gozo's still there? They do not. Gozo able to make them pay and gets 3.
Here's Churro to his left. The Paranoia comes out. There's 1. There's 2. Looking for the 3rd, and he gets it.
And there's Jack as well, avenging Grim and continuing on, getting Capraj and Gozo the 3K and make it.
Capraj goes down, so once more, that's a second. Food just playing games right here in the back line, making things tough, and that's 3. This is just a 2, make it okay, Food. Just pick up all the frags. He's gonna go for it. He's got it.
Who needs training dummies when you have real dummies?
Welcome, everybody, to this wonderful Friday evening where we are going to be bringing you yet another edition of the GLG VAL-AM qualifications. Tonight's sponsor, shout out to Able Esports for helping us put on this amazing show for you tonight. I'm the Doctor, being joined by none other than Keglinuk. Maximilian, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing pretty good, Doc, and I can't wait to hear our prognosis of what's going to happen between Able and SDK tonight. It's going to be really cool to see how these teams go. Both of them have had really interesting runs in previous qualifiers, and now with one already sponsoring one side of the team and the other one having to make their way through the qualifier yet again, it's going to be an interesting event to start things off.
Yeah, I mean, both these teams were involved in our last qualifier as well, the one sponsored by Trade Like Pros, and both teams coincidentally lost to the team at that time that was known as Royal, previously Thrifty, now under a new banner as well. So these teams, SDK and Able, are both coming in with a bit of a chip on their shoulder because they both lost to the same team. Now they actually have to prove which one is the better of the two.
It's going to be a tough question to ask, and I really don't think going into this we have a definitive answer. I do think Able have had a slightly better run through the qualifiers so far. SDK have found themselves quite far in some of them, but other times they get first rounded. So it's kind of a back and forth between both teams. I think they're kind of neck and neck in this race, but I think there's a lot of potential tonight for us to be really pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, now don't forget, Max, I mean, SDK is currently a Pit of Valor champion as well. You know, they did win our event on January 27th, so they do have some bit of pedigree behind them. So they could be bringing that in tonight. That is definitely the type of energy you need. However, caveat, Pit of Valor is best of 1 for a large portion of the tournament. It's just that grand finals that's a best of 3. Here tonight, it is a best of 3 group stage between all the teams.
And when it comes to best of 1s versus best of 3s, a lot of people may think that there's not a huge difference. You're still playing a map and you're still playing it through and through. But the big difference is you have to strategize differently for a best of 1. There's a lot more at stake. If you mess up one map and you lose the map banning phase against the other team, you're kind of screwed. With best of 3s, you have a little bit more leeway, but you have to counter strategize and make sure mentally you can prepare yourself for 3 maps and potentially over 3 hours worth of gameplay. A lot of these teams can, do very well in best of 1s, but when it comes to a best of 3 scenario, they falter a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of people do say the longer the series, the higher probability that the better team will win out in the end.
True.
And there is some truth to that. So as we head into our maps here tonight, we are going to see exactly which team has the better strategy, has the better preparedness to come out ahead. I mean, as you can see below, we do have our map picks for the night already selected. We're going to be heading to Haven first here tonight. Everybody's secret favorite. Everybody says they like Ascent, but we know you guys like Haven a little better. I'm being earwormed, and apparently those are not accurate. So
I gotta erase my notes.
We'll get those updated for you in just a second, everybody.
Watch it still be Haven binded split.
Oh, that'd be perfect. That's actually a pretty sick map sequence, actually, because we don't go to Ascent, which I know you're not a huge fan of. We don't go to Icebox, which I'm certainly not a fan of. The only one really missing here would be
That's all of them.
Is that all of them?
I think it is. No, it is. We're losing our marbles a little bit already. We're not even a game in and we're already losing our marbles, man. Yeah, because the default maps were Haven, Bind, and Split, and then Ascent and Icebox are added later on. I do like Ascent though. I mean, we see it so much, but I really do think it is the default map of the game at this point. Like it's the Dust 2 equivalent.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I do think it's missing a little bit of that verticality, of CT Spawn on Dust specifically, but we make do. I do think the map is the most balanced map, probably in the pool. There is a large reason why most teams gravitate towards it in a best of one scenario. This time, though, they get a little bit more flexibility, right? Like you do get a bit of a gimme map at some portion of the pick because, if you're not great on, say, Split, either you ban it or you just save it for the randomizer third. And so, you can hope to get there, hope not to get there, whatever your little heart desires.
And it's funny that you mentioned that Ascent doesn't have a lot of verticality because the map they added right after, Icebox, has too much verticality. They have to shave it down.
They need to shave it down a little bit more, too. I don't think I've ever seen a map that has been more complained about in any video game ever, except for maybe the water stages in Sonic 2.
Why'd you bring that up, man?
We're talking about, traumatic map experiences, Max.
Chemical Plant Zone. That's where I usually stopped when I played Sonic 2.
Yeah,
I could never.
They're just so terribly designed, and it's unfortunate because it is hindering. Back then, it just ruined our childhood. Now, it could potentially cause problems at a global level. But I do notice that on the professional scene, we do actually see Icebox played quite a bit. So, take some, leave some. But let's see if we can get an update here onto the map picks.
As of now, we're still in the bans. I think Icebox is off the table, so I'm kind of sad we're not going to see Icebox. I've said this time and time again, I am really warming up to Icebox. I've been seeing a lot more strategies, a lot more fleshed out gameplay happening on both attack and defense for Icebox. It's going to be a mainstay by the end of the year, and I think once Astra's in full competitive play, we're going to be seeing a whole lot more of it in conjunction with a Viper.
I do think Viper is on the verge of becoming a really strong pick. The biggest complaint that I see on social media is that her wall is such a one and done, which I think is on purpose. I think the wall as it is currently would be incredibly a bit overtuned if you could, drop it and pick it up again, whether it's just in buy phase or even mid round because of how it goes through walls and everything like that. But I think overall, I think a lot of her kit has been receiving the buffs that it needs, that, we are seeing at a professional level. I would like to see it more bleed down into some of, our events, because I do really love the Viper motif. But I don't know. I'm wondering if we're going to get any surprises tonight. Obviously, Astra's banned, but that still leaves Sky and Yoru available.
I mean, I think some statistics came out recently where it's like Yoru had, I think, at most a 3% play rate in North America. Other regions had a whopping 0%. I would be very shocked if we do see Yoru, and it looks like we do have our new maps. We're going to be seeing Split first, Ascent, and then Haven. And so SDK going for the attack on Split. Something tells me we may very well see Viper in map 1.
Yeah, I mean, when this map was changed just a couple weeks ago, everybody started coming out with all this crazy Viper tech, one-way smokes and crazy walls and all these great little bits of information. And so with it being a pick, right? Like this wasn't like, oh, it's the only map left, so if we go 3 games, we're going to go there. No. They chose this map with a reason, so that does lead me to believe that we're going to see some trickery, some treachery out of the teams here, and so we'll be excited to see that. Viper, I wouldn't bet money that we're going to see her. I will say that much.
Okay. I would bet a very low amount of money. I'd bet like maybe $1 that we would see
like a dog coin.
Here. What? Oh,
would you bet a Dogecoin?
I've lost so much money recently on Dogecoin.
I lose money. It just goes up.
One of my friends, he's a coach in another game, put in like, I think $1,000 in Dogecoin back when it first came out. And when there was that huge surge, he had like 50 grand in it. Absolutely insane. And then it dipped and he never bought out. But regardless of the fact, we could buy out and see a Viper here. The main thing I'm wondering about is why SDK went and banned Bind. I don't have the statistics in front of me, but usually if we do see a Viper on one of the more conventional maps, it is on Bind.
Yeah, Bind, it's just generally curious to me because it has been such a staple in the pool. And we see teams choose that over Split literally every day of the week. So I am curious about the mentality behind that. And it could be something that we've talked about at the Pit of Valor for weeks and weeks on weeks, where if you're the team that gets good on the lesser picked maps, you become such a threat in best of scenarios because you can ban away the comfort pick, whether it's Bind or Ascent, put the other team on something very uncomfortable, whether it is Split, old or new, or even Icebox, and just really tear through a team like that and do a ton of mental damage along with it. So there is potentially that opportunity. I think you're showing me a broken pen.
I fixed it. No, that was my headphones. I stepped on it. I just didn't want you to stop talking. You're like, well, why isn't Keg saying anything? Now you know why.
Nice. But yeah, I mean, get good on bad maps. You become a good team in a best of scenario is what it breaks down to.
No, I completely agree. And I think that's part of the reason why I think we're going to see a lot more Icebox by the end of the year. Obviously, there will be more maps brought into play probably after Masters, but having Icebox in a common rotation is not only going to mess up a lot of tier 1 teams, but we've been already seeing that quite a bit. I mean, what was it? FaZe Clan getting 13-0'd against another team. I think it may have been also United on Icebox.
I've never seen Icebox go anything except 13-0, unless it's solo queue. If it's a competitive match, it's a 13-0 on Icebox. That's all there is to it.
TSM went 3-13 against XSET on it, and they're like the Icebox Masters.
All right, you heard it here, folks. TSM, play Icebox.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure by now they've scrimmed it so into the ground. But I'm wondering how far into this we're going to see Icebox here. I mean, Split is kind of in that same exact boat where it's like the odd stepchild of the maps inside the competitive pool. I wouldn't be surprised, given what we've been seeing with Astra and the way the development of characters are being in Valorant, that maybe we could see Haven go into that boat eventually. But we'd need a new map for that first.
Yeah, I mean, I personally have always not minded Split. Obviously, it has a ton of issues, but just the way I play the game, it wasn't, problematic for me. I think the changes make it an overall healthier map, as we've seen so far. I mean, they changed it in beta to make it a little bit more even. Now they've gone ahead and done it again. Awful. Yeah, I mean, it was absolutely dreadful. And so they made it a little bit better. Now they've taken some time again, made it even better. So I do think that their heart's in the right place. So we will continue to see how that works out, as the game continues, whether it is the changing of other maps, whether it's the addition of new maps, which, we do know are coming eventually. But, you have to make do with what you can. And for now, we have 5 maps. So you got to learn all of them.
I mean, the Astra teaser from the Valorant account did show a new map, like in her astral plane. It looked really interesting. Definitely wasn't the full picture of the map because I tried mentally tracing out where bomb sites would be and where CTNT spawns were, and it was a very odd map to say the least.
I don't have any answers for you, Max. I just
do your research, Doc. You're a doctor.
That's not how doctors work.
Yeah, it is.
No, we just Google it. It's like IT, but for people.
That's true. Yeah. I have a funny story about that, right? So my dad is actually a doctor, and so my mom has this brain condition. It's nothing major or anything, right? She was hit in the head with a swing when she was 1 year old and had a concussion, but there was a very teeny tiny part of her brain that never developed. You're probably asking why I'm mentioning this on a broadcast, but the interesting part was that she went to doctor after doctor figuring out what was going on with her, and no one knew except for him. So it's important to do your research, because a lot of the times those top level researchers, the people that are trying to help you out, and to an extent, maybe even us casters, don't have all the answers. I also like that story.
Great story. Definitely do your own research, because a lot of us on desk don't always have the answers, and I will say most of us don't have the answers, even at a professional level. I would say there's a lot of research that does go into these types of broadcasts and things like that, but it's so easy to just miss something, right? Like a player has a secret account that they've just been mainlining Yoru on, 400 games played in a week on this one agent, and all of a sudden they bust it out in the grand finals, and you're like, who could have predicted this? And the answer is nobody.
Rumor on the street that a lot of tier 1 teams are scrimming a lot of Yoru now, really trying to figure out how he plays, and I've heard some crazy results with it too.
That's pretty interesting, considering I did just see a post on Reddit lamenting Yoru in general. They're like, he's garbage, F tier. Why even play this agent? Just delete him from the game. And I was kind of sad because he's neat. He's cool.
He is neat.
Like
he had so much going for him, right? Like the 5th duelist coming out, you could finally have a team of all duelists. He's a dedicated lurker, so it seems, but I feel like he's the opposite of a lurker, right? Like he is best on a hardcore entry like Raze. You give lurking to a role like Reyna, perfect. Jet, maybe. Secondary entry, sure. Anything but being a dedicated lurker. It's just that his footsteps don't really bring a lot to the game, and besides his flash, he doesn't really offer a whole lot.
Yeah, plus his ultimate is like incredibly slow. Make that thing quick like Reyna Ghost, and you actually get a duelist on your hands. Whereas for now, he's just kind of a sneaky boy. He's like Twitch from League of Legends, except he does less damage when he pops out because he's much louder. Kind of like Sombra, I guess, would be like the best comparison, right? Like Sombra comes out of stealth and just like megaphones, like I'm here.
Yeah, no, you're right. He is pretty much like Sombra, and then Astra's pretty much like Symmetra.
Except way cooler. Symmetra is not even cool.
Symmetra's kind of lame, yeah. No, Astra's like, amazing.
Like, I think Astra needs to be seen competitively like yesterday. I need more of this agent.
Doc, when she comes in the competitive play, she's going to change the entire meta. Like, she'll be the most impactful agent we've seen since Killjoy.
Oh, I love to hear it. I love to see it. Inject it straight into my veins. Give me more. It's going to be so great. I mean, we've already seen so many crazy plays. Tech is starting to come out onto social medias, and just if you keep your eyes peeled, you're going to see it all. So it's going to be a great thing. I'm excited to see what teams really change in the meta because, as these buffs and nerfs are coming through, we're starting to see a little bit of action coming in the changing of the agents. We're seeing some teams drop the Omen. Some teams are just so stalwart on it. I do think that as the game continues to advance and as they continue to buff Viper and whoever else they choose to, we'll start to see some really big mixes in agents. And obviously, the more agents we have, the more there is to choose from, which means the more compositions you can create. I want to see like a 5 flash composition that just burns your retinas out of your skull.
I mean, we almost have that. We have Raze, we have what am I saying? We have Phoenix, we have Reyna, we have Omen, we have Sky, and we have We could theoretically see that already, but that's also not.
I'm not counting Paranoia as like a flash though, right?
Okay,
because it's a blind.
Right.
Like it makes everything dark and soothing and cool, and you can just kind of vibe out. Oh, hey, we're into agent selection. I bet they pick Omen.
Probably. I think it's gonna be a mix of Brimstone versus Omen. It usually is on split.
I will say till I'm blue in the faith that I do think Brimstone's just better position right now. You can go back and forth about incredibly long instant smokes versus a rechargeable smoke, but I think when you take the whole kit together, I do think Brimstone just offers just a bit more.
I guess, well, you're wrong. Doesn't matter what you think, Doc, because we're going to see a double Omen.
I'm generally wrong a lot. We got double breach, though. That's pretty neat.
Oh, God. Holy, that's scary.
Sag.
No, I like the Sage pick on the more off maps like Split and Icebox.
It's actually pretty good on Split, too. There's lots of weird off angles. You can throw your wall up and cause, like, essentially like a one-way division. I remember when Split was first changed, a lot of it was focused around the old Killjoy turret box that like you couldn't consistently jump yourself up onto. But now that they made it a lot easier, people, when it changed, they were like, oh, we'll just put this sage wall here, and even if this part like gets blown away, you still have like this really cheeky angle back up against the wall and stuff like that. And even if you don't use it that way, you can make the other team think you're using it that way.
Ooh, nasty, nasty stuff, right? But now the core difference of this matchup is going to be how that Sage plays into a very aggressive attacking comp, like the Raze, like the Omen, like the Jet, like the Breach, no less, too. As we go into map number 1 of this qualifier, Able Esports versus SDK.
Yeah, super excited for game number 1 here. It's on Split, a map we generally haven't seen almost ever here at GLG, let alone the new and improved Split. So, ooh, what was that camera? Did he see over the wall? Am I crazy?
I don't know. Is there any way we can look at that? I didn't get to see it.
He flipped to it for a second, and so it made made me think.
I remember, well, this has always been the most broken map for Cypher. Oh my god, he can. But
the wall's there.
This has always been the most broken Cypher map in the game. Like, even the beta, there were so many exploits where you could use this camera through the wall, and they weren't legal. That camera, I would say, is legal. But look at this, already an early entry coming on through on the A side. It's going to be one inside screens trying to stall things out. But even then, look at this pistol round. There's going to be a whole lot of gunfire going down, but the only one protecting screens up until now has already gone down. It's up to Swift to try to save the day. Doesn't quite matter, though. It's a one versus the whole world. Spike's going to go down immediately, and that Spike has to be defended by only 2 different people left. Maybe almost make that one, both also at half damage. Holding things down at elbow. Oh wait, Sage in hand, playing the battle Sage. The other one waiting for the pinch, trying to clap it at once, and they're able to take it back.
That was a really nice retake there from Able. I mean, SDK had a great opener onto the site. You saw multiple people falling to raised explosives. We saw the Paint King get the first blood. We saw the Boomba in the kill feed as well. Like, there was a lot of things going on there, and I thought Able weren't going to be able to recover. But right at the end there, the last 2 members, we had Eric staying strong, staying stalwart, as well as and they were just able to hold strong with those frenzies, which we have been seeing less and less of since it has increased in cost.
Yeah, I'm a little sad to an extent that we're out of the frenzy meta. It was, you know, a little annoying to cast when it was in play, but now we get to see a healthy mix of it, and predominantly we are seeing that come out from SDK again. I'm not sure if that's the best point of motion to go for, especially when you're going in such a close quarters area as Heaven, but I think it could work, especially against Swift, who's the only one really holding the top here.
Just run him down, though. Uriel already up into Heaven with the tailwind. Vulcan, though, with 2 huge kills there.
Oh, already a beginning onslaught going on through. The wall's going to break down. Spike all by itself. No trade potential. Oh, he might be able to find a Spike and win the round, but Makai comes in from the back to make sure that's not going to happen. Suddenly, Able, on the flip side of what we had seen on the last pistol round, have to really fight things back again. This pinch might not be the same way they were able to before. Eric, having the upper position, has to jump down, play off the fault line, not going to be doing so, but he's going to stall it out instead. Goes for the pre-fires, SML behind, could be able to follow up very quickly, but all hiding in their different positions. SDK are in such a great spot right now to hold down the line and take down these last 2 of Able, and they're almost able to do so, but Eric gets the opening double kill, no less, and leaves only Zack Attack, last one alive. Now, having a Bulldog in hand knows exactly where they come from, but it doesn't matter.
And they're going to have plenty of time for that defuse. Another huge retake there for Able. And to be consistently winning in these off-number situations is going to become problematic for SDK. That was a bit of an awkward round for them. I mean, they had that really slow start to get onto the site. That Sagewall did a really great job of stalling them out. I mean, you saw Zack Attack trying to just knife their way through slowly, eventually getting there. But they didn't have any assistance. If they just died at that point to 08's Bulldog, that round is looking extremely different with the potential of the Spike not actually even being planted. So kind of scary in that sense. We'll have to see if SDK can get back together and lock it in, or if they are going to continue to play this kind of free-flowing frenzy style of gameplay.
Oh, one thing I've noticed too is the round 3 op coming out from Vulcan's already going to miss a shot though. You have to wonder at times like this, with having such an aggressive op early on, if that's the right move to make. If Vulcan's not able to find a kill with that and goes down, that's going to ruin the economy, potentially of the entire team.
Yeah, 5K credits is a big ask on round number 3, and you know that your opponent is going to be quite bought up as well. So you need to keep an eye on all angles, as we do see Makai getting a lot of positioning here. Cyber Cage is popped, but are they going to expect multiple people here, as it is going to be this mid-rope split? Oh wait, with the paranoia, not going to find anybody just yet, and there's not a lot of sound being made from SDK here.
Oh, but as soon as you say that, everything erupts. Vulcan's able to find the opening pick there, but look at that. They're relinquishing control of heaven completely. A single op is not going to be able to take care of 2 different bodies hiding up top, but you know for a fact everyone on SDK are going to be trying to go for A site. Eric and company looking through the cyber cage, looking through the cameras, trying to find what they can, but Abel's just been able to clap everybody up. It's going to leave Zach the last one alive now. Being surrounded almost completely, he's able to find a double kill out of it, make that a triple, but not able to clap up the round.
It's a lot of economic damage, though, Max. I mean, losing 3 rifles only a couple rounds in, they are going to be able to buy up again, but it's looking a little close in these scenarios. And you see on the side of SDK, they are going to opt into a bit of an eco round here. It is going to be quite a good round after this for them, as they are going to be able to have a full buy up, potentially even that operator if they so choose. And even this round, they're quite competitive, right? They have the Sheriff Frenzy, they have an SMG and the Spectre as well. So there is a lot of stuff that they can get done here. They just need to get up close and personal to do it. SML, though, the one that's going to call out the play.
Oh, but they're ignoring that sage wall on mid completely, realizing that mid might not be the way to go. Early pistols onto A, B side are going to be the way to go as well, it seems. Look how much control they've already gotten. Spike's going to be going down. Oh, it's trying to rotate around, gets the revive underway, bringing things back to a 5v4. Not so much of a disadvantage, but Swift are able to really clap things up and take back the site. No matter how much SDK looks like they have the control, they get wiped out instantly.
Bit better round here from Abel. Granted, it was into pistols and, charcuterie, so they do still lose 2 members. They keep the operator alive once again, as well as 3 phantoms, but now it's SDK's turn to full buy. They're going to have fully equipped economy. Again, if they so choose, they could buy an operator. It would be on half armor, which is why they probably won't do that, even though this is still a pretty good map for that offensive operator, because there are so many hard, long angles here. But for now, they're thinking about it. Uriel is like, nope, I want it. I want to do it. My heart's telling me no, but my brain's saying yes. My body's saying yes, excuse me.
Ooh, I see how it is. I don't know how I feel about this mid-centric attack, right? You have the Sage Wall going up, and it really hasn't provided a lot for SDK. They're able to get onto these sites really quickly, but otherwise, they just find themselves in these counter-rotates so effectively. The only thing I would say really going for them is their aggression and all the ults they have. Speaking of which, the Rolling Thunder already going down, but both back immediately. It's a double showstopper coming on through and having the upper hand. We said it was not a great idea, but they proved us wrong. And now there's only 1 left alive.
Ramen, though, is going to pick up another kill, so doing some good damage. We'll have to see if they can get a little bit more, as they are holding this corner. Flash comes out, but they're slow stepping away. They're hearing a lot of sound. The Spike is down too, so Ramen, they're kind of chilling. They know they have a buy up after this round if they lose it or not, but you still don't want to just be handing economy away, and so they are going to be looking to try and take a little bit back for themselves. If they can grab the operator, that'd be huge. They also don't quite know where the camera is, so here comes the fissure.
Oh, right into their bullets, dog. And they get the op too.
Yeah, good stuff. I mean, Vulcan is completely lighting up the scoreboard now, and granted, a lot of this has been abilities, which some of you purists out there might shake your head at, but I love to see it. Raze has been far and away one of my favorite operators or agents to watch here in Valorant, and plays like that are exactly why, right? So much mobility, so much explosiveness, no pun intended, and, when you look across the board, to Patty over on SDK side, they're not having the same production. They're not having the same amount of kill pressure as what we're seeing from Abel.
Yeah, like I said before, the only thing SDK really has going for them in these early rounds is being able to get onto the site, but it looks like now we're seeing a lot more shutdowns in mid-side as well. SML already trying to make their way forwards, with Patty able to opening things up with the showstopper instead. Vulcan finds another entry, double kill with the op, no less, to make things go to boot. Suddenly, again, 2 left alive now for SDK's side. It's going to be the first time in a while we see an even man count. Regardless of the fact, though, Cypher holding their spots, might be able to go on A side, get the early plant down from Makai, but even then, Uriel's able to get that man advantage. This could be the first time now that we see Abel lose a round. It's coming up to Swift now, having to rotate from vents all the way onto the other side, has some smokes going down, trying to translate where he's going, but if he gets that early advantage, tries to block off lines of sight, it's also going to probably telegraph exactly where he wants to go. Swift lurching his way down ramps. It's a 1v2. Knives still out for the Jet. It's not impossible of a situation. Makai, though, having a really good angle below Hell, could easily find this Omen, and they do. Headshot like it's nothing.
Finally going to win a round there off the back of a couple ultimates being used, but they get around, they get some economy back, they steal away both an operator and a rifle, and Uriel was so strong there on that Jet at that point in time. I mean, making the Knives work, it looked a little sloppy at points, but at the end of the day, they got the kills they needed, they got the frags to open up the map, and finally we see a situation where SDK bring it down to even numbers, get the spike down, and they're able to hold on. You know, they cleaned up nicely, they get around in their back pocket. It's still 5-1 in favor of Abel, but it's looking a lot more even now that the weapons are a bit even. Yeah, even.
And don't forget, going into this too, right? We had our Twitch predictions, and at a whopping 53%, most of the viewers in chat predicted that Abel would come out on top here. Having that 4-round lead, well, yeah, I would say they're doing a pretty good job upholding that 53%. I'm curious about SML, though. Holding a very dangerous line of sight, might try to go peeking forwards, could be the opening engagement right on the outside of B garage. It seems like that's not going to be the case. He might go backwards and relinquish himself, but everyone on Abel kind of itching a little bit to find the opening pick in their favor.
I do like the idea to fall back. They only had a little bit of presence up in heaven as, you know, Eric was falling away. Now they've completely giving up all presence in both mid and heaven. They have nobody anywhere realistically. Cybercage is going to come up and force them back, but all they saw was the paint can. I don't even know if they saw the paint can, to be honest with you. They just heard it.
Yeah.
Out of charges.
Bit of a distraction too. This is a bit of an uncharacteristically slow round for SDK. They're going to go for that final 30-second execute that we do see sometimes from teams, but then again, rushing all the utility at once could be a great benefit for A site. It's a very large open site, but Owe holding down the main force itself. Opening pick goes in the way of SDK, but easily traded out immediately. The spike in the possession going down the main line front. Now it's going to be a whole for Uriel again with the quick scope. The spike's going to go into the ground, but it's not going to be enough. There's only 2 left alive for the defense. They have to hold out as much as they can, and they're almost able to do so. It's going to be 1 left alive, but the defenders win by time.
1 enemy remaining.
Oh, they're going to pick up the up. Oh, all right. So SDK keep 1 member alive with the operator, and everybody else falls, and they don't even get the spike plant, so they lose the round 6-1 now, and it's economy just being lit on fire. They won a round, lose a round immediately afterwards, which means this is going to be their last buy. If they can't win this round, they are going to have to eco after this, presuming they lose it. But either way, that was a tough round to lose for them, considering that was our opportunity to start running it back. And so we're seeing another aggressive push here from SML, very similar to what we were seeing from them last round. But this time, Zack Attack seems aware of it.
Oh, he's going to be blinded out and almost fault lined exactly by SML yet again. We're holding back a little bit more. It's almost part 2 of what we had seen last round, but just slightly faster.
That was a great heal.
Abel were able to really clap up here. They're able to find the opening 2 picks, and they have so many ults to work with too, but at this rate, they don't really need to use them. 2 left alive now. These attackers, no spike in their possession, pretty much playing a ring around the rosy between the 2 omens. At least they're able to make it now flawless. But what about these final 2 attackers, right? I'm curious about Ariel. They might be able to get the spike. No one's really watching except for Mailroom, and if they're able to sneak on by with some of their smokes in hand, they could do so, but having the op has its disadvantages, and that's exactly why.
Really interesting round trade-wise. I mean, it started off really strong for Abel. We saw the wall go up. Zack Attack fell early on in the trade that we were really talking up at the beginning of that round, considering they were so close to each other for 2 rounds in a row. Finally, Zack Attack falls there. And so now They tried to go mid. They tried to force that issue, but the Sage Wall perfectly placed, gave him the high ground, and then as soon as they go to peek it, 08's ready, gets the kill, turns him around, does fall eventually by reviving their teammate, which is, the sacrifice fly of Valorant.
Soul to their soul.
Yeah, it's Soulstone, Ink, and Vulcan once again taking it to Zac Attack here in Garage.
I think Vulcan has done such a great job with these opening picks of that op, right? Uriel is super good with the quick scopes too for the entry, but I don't think Vulcan's lost that op yet. Maybe once.
It was once when they lost the round.
Yeah, just once.
And I mean, like you said, Uriel's great for these quick scopes, but after that they die immediately. It's been a trade almost every single time they've gotten that frag, and so 08 gonna be able to get shots on target here. Nice little headshot. Is gonna go for a cheeky repeat. Maybe they're just making sound. I think they're just making sound.
I mean, if they go for the peak, there's trade potential. Let's see that trade go on, though. Raman's able to find one, but there's still one right around the corner. I'm not sure if Raman has any clue about the breach. He has to have seen him know, but the Omen gets away scot-free.
30 HP left onto Swifts, who was able to pick up 3 total, and it's 8 rounds now for Abel on this defending side, excuse me, and that is insane. Like, we know split can be a bit wonky, but this is still a crazy number considering we're still only, so far into this first half. There you could still potentially end this 11-1.
Oh, that's definitely a possibility from what we've seen.
Look at this buy!
Oh my, that is broken. Patty, the Raze, bottom fragging as a duelist, having a Vandal in hand is so much different from everybody else, and everybody gets flashed immediately. The Rolling Thunder comes down too in retaliation, and the one time we've seen
the counter
win a round was by using so many different ults. They're just rushing in, they're hoping for the best. This is like the end of Rogue One, and so many plans are coming through. This could be SDK's only chance for the last half, or for this half to really bring it back, and they just get gunned down immediately. 2 left alive now. Still trying to hold down through the dark cover, but even then they push on through and they're able to find one. It's not gonna be flawless anymore, but really the only one holding down is Raman. This is a final stand, and we're not even out of the first half. They're all pushing through.
They had the great idea with the Rolling Thunder to get onto the site fast and quick and just be a problem. And unfortunately for them, SML also had the Rolling Thunder, so even disoriented and blown apart in the eardrums, they were able to pop a 180, let their own loose, and it completely stalled out the push there from SDK. They had no agency at that point. They couldn't even W key because they were so stunned up, and that gave plenty of time for able to get the rotations in. They did lose 2 members, but you know what? That's just par for the course at this point. As long as you win the round, that's the important part right now, and so they make it 9-1. It is a full buy from SDK, so they could bring it to 9-2 in a second.
Can I give a hot take?
Go for it, Max.
SDK would have won that last round had it not been for the Rolling Thunder.
Yeah, I could see that.
But even if they have a full buy now, you've already lost down on the Raze. That's such a great entry with the Showstopper, especially in hand. You're stalled out completely inside of Mailroom. You could push up all you want, but even then, they follow the reinforcements for the top of heaven, waiting for anyone to push on by. Luckily for them, though, it seems to work. They have almost full control of the site, but down below, they forget to check their corners. And that's going to be SML denying to push completely, leaving 2 bodies left for SDK's side. No, granted, there's not much intel beyond the 2 that have gone down. You're left with a Cypher in hand. He has the spike, but he hasn't pushed up yet at all. It doesn't quite matter either. Swift has just been a killing machine.
It's just an animal on this Omen, completely taking over rounds in certain positions. And as we head into the last round before the swap, it's 10-1, Max. I feel kind of bad because I brought up the idea of the 11-1 scoreline. I didn't think it was going to happen. And yet here we are, Sheriff in Zach's hands, half armor, into the Vandal. All right, so they bought a rifle eventually, but it's not the bestest buy you've ever seen from SDK.
No, and I mean, ending the first half on a broken buy like this is not a good sign. You know, there is still a possibility. We don't want to count SDK out just yet. They might just be an extremely defender team, but looking purely at their agent composition, I'd be worried going to the second half. You don't have that Sentinel utility like a Sage. You do have the Cypher to work with, but we haven't really seen Cypher unable to really do a whole lot either.
Yeah, Zack Attack always being the last one alive kind of rubs some people the wrong ways. We do see Patty getting 1.5 kills by killing themselves, but the rest of the team has fallen apart, and once again Swifts closing out the round 11-1 now in favor of Able. Yeah, that was an explosive round, to say the least.
Quite literally. I mean, we did see the showstopper come on through. We talked about before how it could be a great entry tool, and we kind of did see that a little late, I think, from the Rays. Had it been earlier into the round where they could have found more bodies and not really necessarily take heavy control, that could have been SDK's round. But it was really the only time they ever got a win of the round was on A.
Yeah, and so now that we swap, we'll have to see if SDK's defense that they have together here with the Brimstone, or with the Breach, with the Cypher, can really hold back, you know, Able, because, you know, they have the Sage that no longer is, you know, very aggressive here, unless you're playing the Battle Sage. But, I mean, the wall is good on split. It's definitely not nearly as good as it used to be, obviously, for what they're probably planning on doing with it.
Oh, but this is an aggressive entry. They're just going all in for the pistol round, and they're able to find bodies, though, on the side of SDK. Things are evening out a little bit. A 3v3 wall goes up, blocking out alley access. This could be a great plan to go down for Able, though. They're locking off a lot of SDK. They have to force themselves to heaven or break down the wall, either of which could be great. But look at this flank coming on through on SDK's side. No intel, no way of knowing. Camera focused on alley and heaven as it goes. This could be a great entry in. Patty's able to find one, and there you go. Control completely, it seems. But now it's down to...
Oh, no!
Oh, no! Can they survive? No, they can't. One with the life. Able lose another round.
That was incredibly tragic on multiple levels. Not only did... Oh, man. Not only did they get fractured, but their paint can missed, so they landed on themselves, and they got a paint can thrown at them. So unfortunately for Vulcan, they had too many explosives to dodge. What's curious to me, though, is they simply didn't even consider the flank play. I mean, you mentioned the camera from Eric being so focused onto heaven. They were just completely out in the open, though. They had nobody watching their flank. So as soon as the two members of SDK swung that corner from Garage, they were like, oh, hey, free kill. We'll just even this up real quick.
And I'm wondering